Hey guys, Kole here. We are here to talk today about some food. I had a lot of inquiries about what I made yesterday for lunch for Ta and myself. So let's get right to it. Today we are going to talk about quinoa. It is a really good base food. It's something that you could prepare at the beginning of the week and then keep stored in the fridge to keep it really easy. So basically the breakdown is it tells you to do a cup of water per quarter cup of quinoa. Just read the directions. I add a little bit more water because it absorbs it similar to rice. You can cook it in a rice cooker as well. So first you get the water to a boil, and then you take it down to a simmer, and it looks something like this, right? So now it's pretty much, good thing I'm over the sink. So it's pretty much absorbed all the water. It has a very pasta-like consistency, right? Which is fantastic. I do a pinch of sea salts in when I first start cooking it, so I decided we would do lapsed time, right? Because I'm not, I don't even really know how to do a cooking show. So welcome to Let's Get Physical, featuring Kole. Just kidding. So, anywho, the next thing I do is I actually saute onions and mushrooms. I put just like a tablespoon of olive oil. Very easy like. So that we can saute. Now I'm going to turn the heat on the quinoa down now to the lowest setting because the quinoa is basically cooked. I just moved, so I pretty much have like no cooking utensils. So I'm doing all the things you shouldn't do with cookware, like stir with a fork. Very important for those that don't know, the reason you shouldn't use silverware on these non-stick type surfaces is you actually will scratch off the non-stick and it's poisonous. In case you didn't know, that's why you should never use forks and utensils in these non-stick pans. So that you know. Now, so I'm going to saute these mushrooms and onions. And I have the tiniest little you know, one of these little things, whatever it's called. Da, 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 da. Alright, so part of the reason I'm sauteing it in this little thing first is it doesn't need to cook as long as the quinoa. Quinoa takes about 15 minutes. So you can actually throw that on, get cutting with your vegetables, and they'll be ready about the same time. So your total prep time can actually be pretty short. I'm going to saute these and then we'll be right back. Shit! Boo! So I had to edit that a little bit. I'm sure you can imagine what followed after all of the food I just made hit the ground. What you see on TV is not exactly how it is in real life. They edit that. Man! Ugh. Anywho, I'm sauteing a little bit left that I had, which is a complete bummer. So here's the deal. I had a big thing of mushrooms. I used about half for this mixture. I used half a pack of quinoa, which basically ends up being 3 to 4 servings. I used half a pack of mushrooms before they all ended up on the floor. And half of or about a quarter of an onion. So there's that. Anywho, let's just roll right along, shall we? I'm going to add to the quinoa maybe about a half a teaspoon size of garlic. Now, here's the thing. My measurements, there is nothing legitimate about the way that I measure my food. I just know what flavors I like. But I get the already crushed garlic. It's a lot less work. So I add that straight to the quinoa. So now my onions and my mushrooms are nice and sauteed. I'm going to throw those in now, which unfortunately is like a welfare helping of both. So I'm going to stir that into the quinoa, keeping the quinoa on a low heat. Now next up, one of my favorite things to add to quinoa is actually sun-dried tomatoes. And dried, not in a, you can buy them in a bottle. I buy them dried because the preservatives that they keep inside of those bottles is not great. So by getting the dried, it hasn't been sitting and soaking in a lot of those preservatives. So this container was like $2.30 for a container this big of sun-dried tomatoes, and they are about 5 servings worth cut up this way. So I'm going to add about this much into my quinoa as well. I love the flavor. It's good. It's delicious. So I'm going to stir that in and let them kind of cook together. Now, as far as spices, I steer clear of salt. It's just not necessary. Most of the food that we eat has salt in it, so it's not really necessary to salt. And you don't need salt. So let's start there, shall we? Next, I'm going to add some black beans to it. It's just more protein. In quinoa, per serving, you're getting, I think it's 3 grams of protein per serving, something like that. And then with the beans, we're getting 7 grams of protein per serving, and that's per half of a cup. So we're actually getting a nice amount of protein in this meal as well, which is great. So we're going to let that continue to simmer, and then what I do, I love curries in general. This Jamaican curry is great, and I just kind of dust the top initially. Not a crazy amount. Again, I do it for flavor. Start on a little bit on the lighter side because you can always add more, right? So that's where we are so far. Now I'm going to start stirring this in. And this is when you can start kind of like tasting it. See what you think. See what you might like more of. I love pepper, so I always add lots of pepper. And guys, the great thing about this is you can pre-make this and keep it for the week. And if you don't add all these sides, like let's say you don't add the onion and the mushroom and all that stuff, you can just cook the quinoa, and basically anything you add to quinoa, that's what it's going to taste like. Quinoa itself does not have a lot of flavor. You can add kidney beans, black beans, chickpeas. I could actually use more black beans, but I'm going to add that separately. So what I'm going to do today with my quinoa is I'm actually going to mimic tacos. I'm going to use romaine lettuce, which is this is romaine, right? The nice bigger leaves, and I'm actually going to make basically lettuce wraps with avocado. So it's going to mimic a taco, and with the combination, it's actually very hearty and very meat-like in its consistency. And then I'm going to put it in romaine lettuce. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the preparation, add some more spice. I'm probably going to add some more curry, some pepper, and then I will come back to you in the preparation point. All right, see you soon. All right, guys, so we are back. I am ready to plate. I know I said prep. I meant prep to plate. Whatever. Whatever. So I start with a romaine lettuce leaf. So this is going to be the base. This is going to be my taco, right? So I'm going to very gracefully dump some of this on there and drip across the whole oven on the way. Right, so I'm basically making this the equivalent of like the taco meat, the ground beef, I guess. I know the consistency isn't like meat, but the idea of having ground beef or something at the bottom is going to be a similar texture. And then what I'm going to do, it's really important, or it's going to make it easier for you if you do a lot of prep work at one time. So since I'm going to be cutting tomatoes, I'm going to cut a lot more so that I can use this on my salad later, and then it's going to take out work later so that I don't have to prepare for every meal. So why not just throw this in with the quinoa to cook? I try to always keep food that is alive, that we have not cooked to death as well. So if I'm going to do all this preparation and cook all of these ingredients, I want to add some fresh ingredients, which I have with the romaine, I have with the tomato. I'm actually also going to add some pepperoncinis. I love pepperoncinis. I like a little bit of spice. So that's pretty much it. And then I'm going to add the seasonings as I want them. But then it's like you've got a nice little taco wrap that's delicious. I'm going to slap some avocado on there because I love avocado. I'll show you the end result when it's all decorated and beautiful. So I'm going to get to that. And so just as an overview, very, very simple, I did half a pack of quinoa. I did a can of black beans. If you can get organic, great, because again, anything that comes in a can is going to have more preservatives in it. The organic ones have less, but if you need to save money, this is a good place to do it. But when it comes to fruit and vegetables, it's more important to get organic especially if it's leafy greens and apples. So if it's kale, spinach, get it organic. If it's apples, get it organic. If it grows in the ground, it's okay if it's not organic. I mean, you know, we can't afford everything. So, anywho, half a teaspoon to a full teaspoon of garlic, depending on your preferences. I got romaine lettuce so that I can use the lettuce as a taco. I did a little over a quarter of an onion before it all ended up on the ground. Container of mushrooms. I used almost half a container. I really love mushrooms and quinoa. That's me. I used the baby Bella mushrooms. And I think that's it for now. So, super simple. I've now got like a huge vat of quinoa for, I mean, this will last me probably 3 or 4 days because I'm still going to hold on to salads. So it keeps it simple. There you go. I will at least post a final picture or something of the end result when it's got the avocado and everything on it. And yeah, hopefully this helps you a little bit, gives you a little bit of direction with your quinoa. Peace. So as I was getting ready to prepare the avocado, I realized a lot of people don't know a little secret for retrieving avocado out of said avocado skin. So first thing I do is I slice it in half long ways. Take out the seed. If you have a good knife, you can go ha, 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 and that'll get the seed out. And then what you do is I actually draw lines because I want cubes this time. So I'm going to cut this, right? So if I wanted to keep them as long slices, fine, but I want these as a cube so that I can spread it easier. Now per serving, you typically only want about a quarter of an avocado. I want more. It's my avocado, I'll do what I want. So, next up, we take a spoon. In my case, because I haven't bought any silverware, we're going to use a plastic spoon. Sprinkle it across the top, give it a nice good coating. I'll probably have 2 tacos, so I'm going to disperse it accordingly. Da-da-da. Oh. Great, great, great. And as I had mentioned, I love pepper. I mean, I really like pepper. So I'm going to add more pepper. And then I'm going to top it off with some pepperoncinis and tomatoes. Yum, yum. Yummy, in the words of Ta from the Bush. And then I've got to slice up the pepperoncinis still. I'm going to slap those on, and I've got an easy meal. So now that this is all prepped, and I've got this all cut, I mean, it's going to be pretty easy peasy to make this meal for a few days. So I'm all about preparation and keeping it simple. Especially on a detox, you're better off choosing 3 or 4 items that you know you like, and then just repeating it and eating it. Keep it simple. It's 5 days. So you can always change up the salad. You can always change this up a little bit, try some different spices. And that will do it for today. Underground Celebrity Fit Club, Dirty 30. I am going to take a bite out of this lettuce's face. It's really good. And it really tastes like a taco. So, next up, I'm going to tell you guys how to make fake chocolate and change your life.